Big Dice back in the house. What's up, my disciples? What's happening? What's goody? It's your main man Dice. Check me out, DiceyWorld, Twitter, Instagram, DiceyWorld. The Twitter is DICEYW0RLD. Instagram DICEYW0RLD dot C0M. I congratulated the Pacers. I'm sorry, the OKC Thunder for winning the 2025 championship. It was a great series, and congratulations to those YNs for the OKC Thunder. When I look at the Thunder, and especially SGA, because it starts from the top, your best player down to the 15th man, they really represent, in my opinion, a lot of these YNs in the world, man, in our society. A lot of these YNs get a bad rap, but a lot of these dudes are focused. They're independent. They got their money right. They have structure. They're very disciplined. They're very resourceful, and they're very mature for their age, man. A lot of times when I'm dealing with he say, she say stuff, and people arguing over pettiness, it's usually like people over 40 and 50 years old. And I'll get into that because Jim Jones brought that up, and that kind of triggered me because I'm in that bracket too. I'm like, damn, I'm 40 and 50. But that's another subject we talk about in a minute, man. But yeah, a lot of the times, the petulance, the immaturity, the adolescent behavior is usually, unfortunately, exhibited by 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. A lot of these young cats, teenagers, 20-year-olds, they're focused, man. And I really feel like the OKC Thunder encompass a lot of what these YNs are doing, man. So shout out to them. Game 7 was amazing. In terms of OKC's crowd, they did a good job rallying around their team. The same energy they had when they were winning 22, 24 games 3 or 4 years ago to now. They're consistent. That crowd never sits down until the opening bucket. So they definitely energized that team because if you think about it, strategically or objectively, Game 7, there was only like 2 or 3 players that stepped up. Of course, the MVP, Finals MVP, SGA stepped up. But offensively, I only remember like SGA, Cason Wallace hitting some big threes, and Chet Holmgren, getting fast break dunks or trailer dunks or dunks in the dunker spot, follow-up dunks, offensive rebounds, and just blocks, man, getting a lot of blocks, steals and blocks. So the Game 7 heroes were definitely SGA, in my opinion, SGA, Cason Wallace, and Chet Holmgren. And not to poo-poo on Jason Williams, because like I said in previous shows or last show, definitely that Jason Williams J-Dub really showed me something this playoff run, this playoff push. He showed me some wiggle. He showed me some creativity off the dribble, getting shots off the dribble. He danced a couple times. He was a playmaker, so he definitely showed me that there was more to his game that met the eye. Because usually the whole year, like I said before, SGA, like Jalen Brunson, is gonna dribble the ball, dribble the air out the ball for 16, 17, 18 seconds, ISO ball. People not really cutting, just standing around. So you really never got a chance to see Jalen Williams' game fully develop or on display, but he definitely answered the bell this playoff run, specifically the final. So shout out to Jay Williams. But yeah, Game 7, which is like a 3-man star or a 3-man story for OKC. Mark Daigneault, he atoned for his mistake in that he eventually won the championship. So nobody's going to remember that Rick Carlisle got in his mind and kind of punked him in Game 1. And this dude won like 80 games, including the playoffs and regular season, with one lineup. And then before Game 1, he changed his lineup. So that was a big head scratcher. That was a real big head scratcher. But he atoned for that mistake. And then lastly, Are the SGA OKC Thunder better than the KD OKC Thunder? I mean, as a collective, you got to say so. I mean, they went to the championship and they won the championship with their reigning MVP. You can say individually, Russell Westbrook, Harden, KD, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams, et cetera, had better individual seasons or better individual players in certain positions. But you got to favor this OKC Thunder team. And shout out to Aaron Wiggins. He had a great speech today addressing the OKC Thunder for their championship season. And he definitely gave props to the forefathers of that franchise, of that organization, for setting the foundation to that team, the building blocks, Nick Collinson and so forth, man. So another example of the YNs, being appreciative and aware and mature about the situation, because you never know where you're going unless you know where you've been. So shout out to them. So I wanted to start off with the winning team. In regards to the Pacers, you definitely have to say that when Hallie went down with the injury, the torn Achilles, and prayers up to him and his family for a speedy recovery. But you had to feel like, Indiana's win, they lost their cell, man. The wind was taking out their cell. I think Obi Toppin said, when he went down, the soul from the team, it was snatched. Everybody was thinking about, well, at least a couple players were thinking about their brother being injured. And shout out to Halliburton for going out there and giving it a shot. He looked good in Game 6, man. A lot of people ask me, would you have tried to play for Game 7? And I would have said, yeah, before, Halliburton got hurt. But now with the whole, remember in 2019 when Kevin Durant got hurt, Game 6, prior to Game 6, he had a calf strain. He popped his Achilles. The first game he came back and played. He came back and played. And then you look at Halliburton, like 2 games after the calf strain diagnosis, he popped his Achilles. So prayers up to him. So you got a strained calf. You got to think long term. Sometimes you need people to protect you from yourself. You need your coach to protect you from yourself and your inner circle. But it's hard to tell a man, to tell a player, a competitor who's been working his whole life to get to a certain point, the championship, the culmination of all your dreams, to like sit down. That's a hard ask to ask. That's a hard task to ask. That's a hard request, a difficult request. So, side note, I saw, I'm sure like you have too, like the memes of like, being number 0 was a curse this year. Dame Lillard, Halliburton, and Jason Tatum, they all tore their Achilles in the playoffs. I think that's a coincidence, but it's so funny because Halliburton and Tatum, I really felt like they were on a mission this year to atone from the embarrassment of being set, in the Olympics last year by Steve Kerr. So I definitely felt like they were incentivized and motivated to show the world that, they're better than gold medalist bench warmers. So that's unfortunate for them. But like I said, prayers up to Hallie, wishing him a speedy recovery. Yeah, a lot of my friends too talking about, cutting in games from the regular season to prevent the injury. But my retort is these injuries occurred in the playoffs, and a lot of these players aren't playing 82 games anyway. If anything, I would suggest cutting the playoff format, So for first round, it should just be 1 game. Second round, best of 3. Conference finals, best out of 5, and then finals, best out of 7. So basically 1, 3, 5, 7 format. 1 game first round, 3 games second round, 5 games conference finals, and best of 7 for the finals. So maybe that could be a consideration as we strive for the health and the integrity, maintaining the health and integrity of our players in this league. Because it was a great season this year, a great playoff run. A lot of people are in agreement saying that they like this year's playoffs is one of the most exciting playoffs. You can't say that it was um, a script. You can't say that the calls were favorable for the big city markets. I mean, if you had OKC and Indiana on your bingo card, you need to be playing the lottery straight up because nobody had that. All right. And also on the day of Game 7 hit, we got the big news that KD was traded to Houston for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and like several second round picks. I like the trade. A lot of people are saying that they wouldn't have done it. They gave up too much for KD. KD is 37, 38 years old. He's old. Listen, in 2025 with modern science and training, and these guys have, just so many advantages to prolong and maintain their health. KD is a young 37 and he's a bucket. He's 37 years old, but you know, if you look at the league, the landscape, and guys are playing one-on-one or playing ones, you got to favor KD as the favorite. You got to favor KD as the winner to win a one-on-one tournament against the whole league. And shout out to Jason Tatum too, because if we're being honest, after Kevin Durant, like one-on-one, the most unstoppable player, you got to say is KD. But after that, you really got to say it's Jason Tatum. They both 6'10". Well, KD is like 7 foot, but Tatum's like 6'10", 6'11", with the same, if not similar, or a similar, if not same skill set as KD. Nice handles, nice jumper, adequate athleticism. But yeah, I like the move by Houston. They needed a scorer, a go-to scorer, somebody you can get the ball to and give him a bucket. I like the fact that he's teamed up with Ime Udoka, who was his assistant coach when he played in Brooklyn. I like this move in that, when Boston won the championship, they had that Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, D Wade, LeBron formula, that blueprint. Like athletic take over wings, like perimeter players, two-way players that can lock you up defensively and give you 20 points on the offensive end. Um, that's what Boston did. That's what they had last year when they won the championship. They had Tatum and Brown. And I think this year in Houston, you can argue that Amen Thompson, and KD is going to be their new Jordan, Pippen, LeBron, D Wade, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, like that shooting guard, small forward combo. Even though a lot of people are saying that KD is going to play power forward, his natural spot's like a point forward, a three, a playmaking three. So, and Amen Thompson, yeah, he's not like a shooting guard like a Jordan or a Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown really didn't have a jump shot until after like his second and third year in the league. I recall last year when Jalen Green was injured for the Houston Rockets, Amen Thompson was like their default de facto point guard. He was their playmaker. It was a lot of games he had double doubles, points, rebounds, and high assists. So I really feel like Amen Thompson, can be that second, that second fiddle on the perimeter to KD. All he has to do is develop a jump shot. Now, a friend of mine did mention that. He said that Houston doesn't have any jump shooters, but I like Cam Whitmore. I like the kid, what's his name, Reed, their first round pick last year. So they just need to develop their shooters. And, it's still early in the preseason, or I'm saying the off season. They still have enough time to grab a shooter. As we saw today, Tuesday, June 24th, we had an array of trades already. We had Drew Holiday getting traded to Portland for Anthony Simons. I like that. Simons is a young dude, relatively in the same bracket or same age as Tatum and Brown. He can get buckets and then you saw they offloaded Porzingis to Atlanta. So it's going to be a real busy off season, and I still have belief and faith that Houston will have time to find a shooter uh, for KD. But all in all, I do like that trade, and I feel like that makes Houston instant contenders for the NBA championship. And one more note before we get into my hip hop stuff and our music. I just want to follow up a couple of weeks ago when I had dissed, well, not dissed, but I had talked about Cooper Flag, and I was saying I don't think that he's going to be as dope or an impact player like everybody's saying. And I called him Tom Gugliotta. And I looked at Tom Gugliotta's stats. He averaged like 15 points and 9 rebounds his rookie season. So how's that a diss to Gugliotta? I'm sorry, to Cooper Flag. He's going to a team that's ready to win now. Anthony Davis is on the team. They have other veterans. Kyrie Irving's going to make a return. Like, how much impact do you think Cooper Flag is going to have? I think 15-8 is it's a good modest number for him to shoot for. But I want to get into the analytics though. People were saying, why don't you think Cooper Flag is going to be that great? Okay. Um, I think he's an average ball handler. I didn't see any wiggle. I didn't see any dancing. I didn't see any great moves. I just saw him take advantage of his athleticism and height and his size in college, like just driving strong to the right, going up a little jump hook or a layup or a dunk. That's not going to work in the NBA. I don't think he's fast enough to beat anybody off the dribble. And when it comes to his jump shot isn't anything amazing. He's not like Danny Green or uh, Steve Kerr. Those are random names, but I just don't see it, man. So I think Tom Gugliotta is a great comp for him. I will say this though, getting ready for Wednesday's draft, you got uh, the names on the board, the obvious names. Cooper Flag's gonna be the obvious number one. I think uh, Ace Bailey has the most potential and upside, but I think Dylan Harper is going to be the safest pick. I think he's the most pro ready right now. I think you put him in any system, he's going to be ready, even though I do doubt the projections. Like, wow, like they really have him projected going to San Antonio. That's going to be a log jam at guard because you already have De'Aaron Fox and the reigning rookie of the year, Stephon Castle. Like, where does Dylan Harper fit? I'm not sure. I'm anxious to see that. But I think he's the safest pick right now, and has the most NBA ready or the pro ready game right now. But my baby, the guy that I'm looking for that nobody's talking about, is what's his name? Is Walter Clayton Jr., the reigning MVP from the Final Four and championship game. I've seen this happen all the time. A guy has a great championship run, and then when the draft comes, he falls off the board. Not even the first round. He might not even get drafted in the second round, if at all. But I'm loving Walter Clayton Jr. I think on the high end, he reminds me of Darren Williams, like a big 6'3", 6'4", kind of like strong, stocky guard with handles and a nice jumper, slash, Kimball Walker. So that's like my high upside potential for, in my opinion. We'll see. Walter Clayton, I think he can be like either a Kimball Walker or a Darren Williams, but then, conversely, he could hit bottom and be like a Shabazz Napier. Because I remember when Shabazz Napier came out from Connecticut, I thought he was going to be the truth. I mean, LeBron did too. He got Miami to draft Shabazz Napier. Then he dipped out and went back to Cleveland. But I think the high end that Clayton can be like a Darren Williams or a Kimball Walker, but on the floor he might end up being like Shabazz Napier. And also, another side note, I just want to get into like the power of the media, just the power of the media. Um, Getting back to this whole KD trade, you know, Stephen A. Smith was one of the first people to clamor for KD being traded to Houston. Remember when Houston was struggling? I'm sorry, when Jalen Green was struggling in the playoffs. Nobody was talking about Jalen Green getting traded and possibly to Phoenix and all that kind of stuff. But that's what happened. I'm not sure if Stephen A. got some kind of relationship with Matt Ishbia behind closed doors, but that happened. Um, Back to Stephen A. Smith again. I remember when Ohio State lost to Michigan. Stephen A. Smith was kind of getting on. What's the coach name? Day. I forget his first name, but something Day for Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lost to Michigan. You deserve to get fired, basically. And what did they do? They went on to win the championship, Ohio State. And I definitely heard Stephen A. Put Sam Presti on the hot seat. I remember a couple weeks ago, he was like saying, Sam Presti, you're a good GM, but what have you won? What have you done to justify this praise? I feel like Sam Presti needs to be on the hot seat. And what does OKC do? They go on to win the championship. So, I talked about this before. I, blogged it, talked about Stephen A. and everything like that, but people try to heckle him. But these cats really, like general managers and presidents of these organizations and players, they really do lock in and listen to the media. So I just want to give another example of how the media really has power in governing decisions and governing decisions that these people in high positions make. So I just wanted to point that out. Um, oh yeah, and real quick, did y'all hear? Speaking of Stephen A. Smith, they was at Fanatics Day, and they had T Mac on the show. And be real short, T Mac was talking about, yeah, if you put me on that Kobe and Shaq team, do you think I'm winning the championship? I'm going to win the championship. Whoa, 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 buddy. Shout out to you. Maybe if you got to the championship round and you were playing Indiana, Philly, or New Jersey, that first three-peat, maybe. But sir, I'm not sure. I'm not confident that you had what it took to get out the first round by yourself. And actually, the proof is in the pudding. You never got the first round in Orlando by yourself. You could say help, no help. Okay, let's go to Houston then. What did you do in Houston? You had a nice squad in Houston. Yao Ming, you had the coach, Van Gundy, you had players, man. So don't disrespect Kobe like that, bro. And remember, Shaq had Penny Hardaway. Shaq had Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones. He didn't really win anything until he had Kobe. So as much as I love you, T Mac, and in 2002, people were going back and forth trying to decide or figure, who was better, Kobe or T Mac. Shout out to T Mac for being in that conversation, but I never thought T Mac was better than Kobe. Maybe as good on the same level, but I never thought he was better. I always knew Kobe. See, what happened was in 2002, and I heard Gil and them on Gil's Arena, they were talking about this, the mindset in 2002. A lot of people were hating on Kobe in 2002. Number one, that Kobe and Shaq feud was going on. Most people sided with Shaq. I'm sorry. Yeah, they sided with Shaq. And a lot of people couldn't just comprehend that you had Kobe Bryant a year or two after Michael Jordan retired playing just like Mike. They couldn't believe it. They were hating on Kobe for talking like Mike, playing like Mike, winning like Mike. And then they sided with Shaq. So that view was a little skewed in terms of, T Mac was as good or better in 2002. No, Kobe was always that guy, and I got to disagree. T Mac, you were great, but you never got the first round in Orlando. You didn't make that much noise in Houston with a drastically better team. So I can't agree and say automatically, you're going to win championships with Shaq. Maybe if you got to the finals round, we insert you in the finals. But that whole journey to get to the championship rounds, I'm not sure if I'm rocking with you, T Mac. But I love you though, man. But I'm not sure if I agree. All right, switching my hat from NBA to music. Did you guys check out that list? The top 50 NYC list that Complex allegedly put out. If not, I got you. Let me show you right quick. Okay. we're not gonna go through like the whole 50, the top 50, but as you can see, number 10, they got KRS-One, number 9, Busta Rhymes, number 8, DMX, number 7, Nicki Minaj. I'm not even sure if Nicki is on top of Little Kim. But shout out to Nicki though, she got stats and everything. Number 6, 50 Cent, number 5, LL, 4, Rakim, 3, Nas, 2, Biggie, 1, Jay-Z. Hey, let me show you my top 10 list. All right. Number 10, I got Big L, RIP Big L. He was a beast. He could have been a problem if he would have, you know, uh, lived longer to see his career really fully develop and bud and blossom. So shout out to Big L Fab. You know what, man? He's consistent. He got bars. Love the swag. Fab. Number 9, DMX. It's Dark and Hell is Hot, 98, Belly. I mean, legend. 2 albums in 1 year. Tupac type style of work ethic. Number 8, Mos Def. Love Mos Def. Super underrated, great music, musician, intellect, good style, historian, hip hop historian, bars, classic songs, Mos Def. 7, Jadakiss. I know he says top 5 dead or alive, but Jada, man, you know, for obvious reasons. Aha! Aha! Oh, man. Let me stick to my lane. Number 6, I had to do like homage tribute to all the old school rappers, and I feel like nobody represented the '80s. And shout out to Run DMC, DJ Run, and DMC, but this is like the Rushmore, the top 5 in the '80s, '90s, come out of New York. Rakim, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, LL Cool J are just legends, man. So I had to group them all together for number 6. Number 5, Ghostface Killer, arguably the greatest Wu-Tang member, lyrically, great beats, great influence, great slang, great style. Yeah, Ghostface, that's that guy. Dice Dini, Ghost Dini. Number 4, the most murderous, Prodigy. I mean, really, so for my list, I kind of combine like my bias with like objective stats, numbers, record sales, influence, and everything like that. But really, Prodigy and Nas might just be my favorite personal just MCs. You know what I'm saying? Just like Prodigy was that guy, so underrated, ahead of his time, man. Yeah, he was a thug, but he wasn't no goofy. He wasn't no dummy, man. He was always just intelligent, honored himself, integrity, stood on principles, convictions, man. So shout out to Prodigy, man. Number 3, Hove. I mean, say what you want, man. It is what it is. He's just that guy. He's him. Hove's that dude. Some of the coldest lyrics songs ever, man. The coldest pimp song. Is that joke? Just the lyrics and that is crazy. Big Pimpin'. Just a variety of songs, man. Hove, he's done his thing, man. Say what you want. Number 2, Big. I used to be a big hater in real time. I'm like, how this dude all, ugly and fat and, got so much swag, like talking so much ish. How is he so arrogant? But years later, though, man, I just appreciate Big's flow, his lyrics, his transition, his rhyme scheme, the actual words he's using, you know what I'm saying? Multi-syllabic words. And he was only 24 years old. I mean, Big was that guy. Just like how when people say, yeah, Kobe's the GOAT, I really can't argue. I'm not mad at anybody for saying Kobe's the GOAT. Like, I think Mike's the GOAT, but Kobe's like right underneath him, man. So I'm not really mad at that. So when people say Big is the GOAT, I'm not mad, man. That dude was crazy nice. But number 1, it's got to be Nas. That's my guy. If I think about it, I probably listen to Illmatic more than any album of all time. Nas was just like something new. He was like what Michael Jordan was to the NBA, to New York rappers. Like, he just changed the game up. Everybody had to switch their style. He just set a precedence, man. Everybody's still chasing that impact that Nas had in like 94, 93, 94, 94 Illmatic, But Nas is that guy, man. which leads me to this subject: Jim Jones versus Nas, or who's a better rapper, or whose career is most lit? Isn't that like the whole question of the narrative going on in Jim Jones versus Nas? Oh man! And for those who aren't hip, who are not hip to Jim Jones's recent comments, check this out.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but
like, let's keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck because you'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception. A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them. But they forget I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries. Then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the comparisons and then niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What?
Yeah, I don't have those stats in front of me, but I heard that Nas is killing those billboard stats, like number ones and platinum albums, all that stuff. So maybe Jones had that information wrong. But check out this clip too.
Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of mofos came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit. And we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm being honest. You ask me, I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game. Remember how this goes. You ever heard of a Kofi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys.
Hey, Jim.
Wow, interesting. A lot to unpack. So for the first, let's go to the first clip when he's on the panel with Jada and Fat Joe. Well, first of all, and Jones would say it, man. He said he's the new AB, the algorithm bender, man. So I think he's purposely trolling and clout chasing, or purposely trolling. I don't think it's a clout chase. I think it's a bag chase. See, a lot of people that hasn't made it, that's not on yet or anything like that. They try to go viral. They trying to get attention. They trying to clout chase. I figure like, people like Jim Jones who already made it, who's established and solidified in his industry. It's all about engagement, and the more viewers you get, and people hitting up your page, you get bread. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about this, obviously, with my drop podcast, but the more engagement you get, you going viral, you getting money, man. So shout out to Jim Jones. Maybe his stream numbers is going up every time he go viral. His numbers going up. So maybe it ain't nothing personal. It's just all business, man. So shout out to him for finessing the game. That's number one. Number two, so that's just my opinion in general. But back to the clip, though. Jones remind me, and remember I said earlier in the show, when I mentioned like 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds, Jones kind of triggered me because he said, yeah, I got a lot of 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds in my comments trying to, fight for their life. And I felt triggered. I'm like, damn, that's my generation. I'm the 40 and 50-year-old, But I get it because it makes sense because that's his age group. His generation and my generation like very similar, man. And he right though. If you 40 or 50, Nas was that guy. You just see that I had Nas #1 all time New York rapper list, so it would make sense, man. But shout out to Jim Jones because he gonna hold it down for himself though. What before I even get into that, but he remind me of me in that he gonna be fresh till he die, fresh to death. I'm an old dude getting fresh too. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when you're an old dude and you still got like the ear and the vibe of the YNs, the young dudes, you think you're a young dude. No, I don't think I'm a young dude. No, I don't think I'm a YN, but I think I'm tapped in to know what they thinking and saying. So when Jim Jones is saying like, yeah, my son, he don't know one Nas song. I think he not just representing his son. He mean like his son generation. You see that one young kid a couple weeks ago. That's probably what even started this whole conversation. When the little young kid went viral by saying Jim Jones is tougher, meaning like his career, his music is better than Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that YN generation. It's a big gap and disconnect and separation. And Jim Jones is still active. You heard him. He said, I'm still in the field when he was battling Shannon Sharp. So I get it. He's looking at things in the modern 2025 YN disposition, though. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. The second clip when he's with Shannon, though, he funny for the Koofy list, Goonie Google and the Koofy. Man, not the Goonie Googles, but Jim Jones is foul for bringing that up, man. That's a foul dude for bringing it up. But I gotta love him for his transparency, though. I mean, that is a documented fact in hip hop history. They was going back and forth, Dipset versus Nas. When Nas dissed him off the radio, you know what I mean? So Cam and Jim Jones is warring. But shout out to my man Lean, because even before this talk happened, when Jim Jones and Cameron was battling, I mean, my man Lean was like, and I'm sorry, Lean, I should have said my man. I'm not trying to put you out there or call you out, bro, but you was definitely one of the first ones to say like publicly or to verbalize and say, yeah, Jones got a better catalog than Cameron. And I was thinking like, damn, he might be right. He got more albums. Like since Dipset came out, since he signed a solo deal, meaning Jim Jones in 2003, more albums than Cameron, probably like more like recent hits. And that don't mean he better though. You know what I'm saying? Like as in terms of like a rhymer, actual talented rapper. I'm not saying he better than Cam. And I'm not knocking Jim Jones because he has definitely improved throughout the years, man. Shout out to him. And shout out to Jim for wanting to be better in his craft and being competitive. He probably do got a better discography than Cam, but I'm not gonna say that he's better than Cam. But there's no way I'm going to say he's better than Nas or got a better discography than Nas. And I do kind of agree with Jim Jones with this last point about the belly point. I am is the I'm not I am, but oh shit, what's this album? Illmatic. Illmatic is arguably the best album of all time. Nas had the great influence and great impact and style. But the key comment in Jim Jones' statement, he said, after Belly, Nas lost me. I know what Jim Jones talking about. That's not entirely Nas's fault, man. During that time, when Belly came out, Nas was supposed to drop his third album, I Am. And I'm trying to tell you, that album was so heavily bootlegged that I had to get broken down to 2 albums. I Am and Nostradamus, and then years later down Lost Tapes. The reason I brought up Lost Tapes, think about this. All of the best songs you ever heard on I Am, all of the best songs you ever heard on Nostradamus, and all of the dope songs on Lost Tapes, that was the original I Am. I'm trying to tell you, looking out project, looking out the window, project on my window, drunk by myself, blazing 50, all of those songs was consolidated on that one album, I Am. I'm trying to tell you, my man, what I ain't gonna say his name, but my man, he think it was written better than I Am. I'm sorry, than Illmatic. You can argue that, but Illmatic, Illmatic, it was written classic Nas albums, but that I Am, that original I Am that I had my hands on, not hurt, like I physically hurt. If that I Am album that was so heavily bootleg would have dropped, that would have been the best album of all time. That was better than, like I said, Illmatic and Ill Written. Ill Written. It was better than Illmatic and It Was Written. But he dropped that. He went back to the lab and dropped that I Am that we know that came out specifically, and his albums kind of went like this, meaning Nas. But I feel like that I Am album would have stayed intact. Oh my gosh. So I do feel Jim Jones when he made that comment about the Belly soundtrack, the Belly point about his career at the Belly. But anyway, guys, that's my time. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think. Listen, subscribe to the YouTube page. Check me out, DiceyWorld.com. That's my website. You know, got all my stuff on there, blogs, videos, and everything like that. And once again, check me out on the gram and on Twitter. That's my time. But remember, boys and girls, anything can happen in Dicey World. I'm out of here, man. Hasta la vista, pasta and pizza. Peace.